In other words, temporary registration is not a requirement for ORE, and ORE is not a requirement for temporary registration. So you can absolutely apply for temporary registration without having to take ORE. Good news, right? Yes. Hi friends, today we are talking about temporary registration as requested by you. I have personally not taken this route, but don't you worry, I did all the hard work to dig deep into this topic and find out all the relevant information that you need to have before attempting to take this route. So what you are seeing on your screen right now is the GDC application form for those who are seeking temporary registration. As you can see, it is a 31-page document that you have to fill in. So you can see that it is quite a long document. But before we actually jump into the part where you fill in the application form, first we need to cover important things regarding temporary registration. So in this video, I'm going to cover what temporary registration actually means, what it is and what it is not, the approved posts that you can apply for under temporary registration, the documents that you require to apply successfully for temporary registration, and finally, we are going to look at how this temporary registration actually works. So basically, we are going to cover everything you need to know about temporary registration. All you need to do is to stay with me until the end so that you get all the information that you need. And while you are at it, if this is the kind of information that you would like, please consider subscribing and join the family. So let's get back into my computer and I show you everything that you need to know about temporary registration. Let's go. So earlier I showed you this document, but this is getting way ahead. Let us first look at this other document. This one, as you can see, still it is a GDC document on temporary registration. So these are the temporary registration guidelines. Interestingly, the guidelines are just 13 pages as compared to the actual application form, which is about 31 pages, as you can see here. First, what is temporary registration? So for that, we look at here. The definition is right here. Temporary registration exists to allow qualified dentists to undertake a training program at a UK university or in an NHS hospital, carry out research, or undertake a program of teaching at a UK NHS hospital or university. Well, that is quite a definition. So in simple terms, it means that it is an alternative registration route for overseas dentists. As it actually states here, temporary registration is available for any person holding recognized overseas diploma. So for the definition of diploma, what they refer to as diploma here, you can come down here and you check recognized overseas diploma is a diploma granted in a country overseas and recognized for the time being by the council for the purposes of Dentist Act of the Dentist Act 1984 Amendment Order 2005. That means that all our degrees that we are having are referred to as diplomas in the UK. So it is primarily for persons holding recognized overseas diplomas. It is just one of the alternative routes that an overseas dentist can take to practice dentistry in the UK. However, it has limitations. As you can see, it is for training and then research, and then it should be at a teaching UK hospital or an NHS hospital or university. So those are the limitations. I hope that is clear. I think with this, you can now tell that it's completely different with the proposed provisional registration, because with the provisional registration, you'll be able to work anywhere. That is in a hospital, in a university, or in a high street dental practice in the UK. With this, you can't do that. That's the major difference. If you want to know all the other details about provisional registration, I'm going to leave a link under the comment section so you can look at it and see the differences. But for now, let's get all the information that we need to get about temporary registration. For those who are interested to take this route, you'll be well equipped. So let's continue. The next thing we wanted to look at is what temporary registration is and what it is not. We have touched on this a bit under the definition, but now let's look at it in more detail. First, we want to look at what it is or what it is for. So let's get back here. Let's start with what it is not. Temporary registration will not be granted to allow the applicant to work in primary care. That is what I've just said. Primary care here refers to the usual practice of managing and caring for dental patients. So this is strictly for research and training. So not primary care. And you cannot work in a private hospital or a dental practice. It has to be a teaching hospital, NHS hospital, or university. Okay. Temporary registration is not for purposes of covering staff shortages for providing service cover when existing full-time members of the staff are absent or due to illness. Meaning that if there is a shortage of staff in a particular hospital or university where a temporary registrant is available, he is not to be substituted for the staff member who is missing or is on sick leave, or even because of understaffing. That is not allowed. Okay, temporary registration does not lead to full registration. This is also another major difference with provisional registration. However, it is renewable and it can be used for a significantly long time, as we are going to see later. The other aspect of temporary registration which stands out is that an applicant does not have to apply for temporary registration to take ORE or vice versa. In other words, temporary registration is not a requirement for ORE, and ORE is not a requirement for temporary registration. So you can absolutely apply for temporary registration without having to take ORE. Good news, right? Yes. Then we have other things that we can skip for now because they don't apply to us. To summarize that point, we can say that temporary registration is for research and for training in an NHS hospital, in a UK university, or in any other teaching hospital in the UK. What it is not for is it cannot lead to full registration, you cannot work in private practice, and it's not related to ORE. I think that's clear. Let's move to the next point. So since this temporary registration is specifically for training, there are GDC approved posts for this training. So which are these? Actually, the posts are divided into two: training posts and teaching, research, and other posts. So under training posts is where we have posts suitable for temporary registration. Okay, here they are. First one, dental SHO, that is dental senior house officer post. Okay, if you want to know what that means, you can come down here and say and check the meaning of it. Dental senior house officer posts may also be described as dental foundation year 2 training posts or career development posts. So in the UK, when you are specializing, you go for dental foundation year 1, foundation year 2, then you go to core training 1, core training 2, core training 3 before you become a specialist. So this is considered to be under foundation year 2. So that is an SHO post, senior house officer. So that is one of the posts. Let's check others. Tier 5 medical training initiative training posts. Specialty registrar posts. So what are the Tier 5? These are posts administered by the National Advice Center for Postgraduate Dental Education. Okay, and then we have specialty registrar posts. These posts are administered by the relevant postgraduate deanery. And then we have Army/Navy Personnel Exchange Program. So those are the 4 training posts. Then the other posts are classified as teaching, research, and other temporary posts. Okay, so if the applicant wishes to apply for a temporary registration post that is not listed or a post for research or teaching, they should contact the registration team for guidance on their application. So this includes other posts which are not listed under training posts. So next we want to look at what documents do you need in case you are interested in applying for temporary registration. I think this is essential and you should probably get your pen and paper and take notes. The documents are here. You must supply the following documents. Okay, document number 1 is the obvious one, the one which I just showed you. This member here, the application form. This application form, you need to supply it. So, but let's look at the others. A completed application form. One other thing that I want to say about this application form is that some of the requirements for ORE application actually also apply here. Just like in ORE, you will need to send your primary dental degree to NARIC for comparability, so that they send you that comparability certificate, because you're going to need that comparability certificate together with your application. And then the other thing you need will be proof of your English proficiency, and then you're also going to need proof of clinical hours, 1600 clinical hours, just like in the ORE application. In addition to that, you are going to need all of these documents. Okay, as you can see, a certified copy of your valid passport, a certified copy of your name change if you change your name, a certified copy of your applicant's primary dental degree, unauthorized English translation if your documents are not in English, certificate of good standing if you have been practicing, of which you are most likely to have been practicing in your home country. So you must obtain a certificate of good standing, and that certificate should not be less than 3 months at the time of application. One thing though I need to emphasize is that the certification of your primary degree must not be done by your university, because if you did that, it is going to be rejected. It must be done by a public notary, and they have to confirm that they actually saw the original document and what you are presenting is an actual copy or a true copy of the original. By writing these exact words, this is a true copy of the original. Trust me, even if it is certified without those words exactly the way I have said, the documents will be rejected. So make sure it is certified and those words are written. Then, of course, the signature and the stamp and the rest of it. But those words are very important. Make sure they are written. Now, with all the documents covered, we want to see how the GDC actually applies this temporary registration. How does it work? Okay, that one is right here, how the GDC operates temporary registration. So the first thing they say is that it is granted for a maximum of 1,826 days. So that is either 7 or 5 years, something like that. You do the math and confirm whether it is 7 years in the comment section. So, but that is the maximum number of days the temporary registration can be granted. After that, it can no longer be extended. The next is the periods of the temporary registration will be granted for a minimum of 180 days, that is around 6 months. And then a maximum of 365 days at a time. The 1,826 days is the overall time, but per time the minimum is 180 days and the maximum is 365 days. In other words, the minimum is 6 months, the maximum is 1 year, but you can keep renewing until you reach a maximum of 1,826 days cumulatively. Then you cannot renew further. That will be the end. Temporary registration is also given on the basis that the applicant has requisite knowledge and skill for efficient practice of dentistry in the post in question. It will only be issued if the applicant has obtained a suitable training, teaching or research post. For example, if you are going for a training post in oral and maxillofacial surgery, that means that in your home country, you should have a qualification already in oral and maxillofacial surgery. Because when you go for this training post, you will be practicing oral and maxillofacial surgery at that level. So much as it is a training post, you need to have requisite knowledge in that position that you are practicing. It is one of the things that makes temporary registration complex for most people to go through it. But that is a GDC requirement and you can't do much about it. The applicant is also only permitted to work in a maximum of three hospitals in any one post. So there may be rotations, but in all the 1,826 days, which will go up to 7 years, you cannot work in more than 3 hospitals, even if there are rotations. 3 is the maximum. So that is also one of the restrictions of temporary registration. Next is the usual. Once you are successful, the team will email you, you open an EGDC account, blah, blah, blah. That stuff. Just like with ORE. Here also serves the purpose of you recording your CPD activities. Because once you are a temporary registrant, you are treated just like the full registrants in terms of CPD conditions and working regulations. So once you are done with that, you have all the documents in place, you have understood the terms and conditions, and you are ready to submit your application. Then you must pay an application fee. This one I'll need to confirm. If you get the correct figure, you'll tell me. But what I know is that the application fee is equal to annual retention fee for the time duration of your temporary registration. If you have applied for 1 year, then you pay for 1 year. So once you have submitted your application, we hope you'll be successful. And once you are successful, the GDC is going to publish your name under Temporary Registrants Register. They will publish your full name, your temporary registration number, the name of the post for which you have been registered, the start date, and the end date of your temporary registration. And with that, then you are good to go. So briefly, that is what temporary registration entails. But if you want to see the whole document, or maybe you want to have a look at the application form, let me know in the comment section and I'll send you a copy of these documents. Otherwise, thank you for watching. If you have got any value, please give this video a like and I'll see you in the next one.